The Columbia Broadcasting System presents yours truly, Johnny Dollar. The next half hour has its baggage packed to take a trip with America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator, Johnny Dollar. At insurance investigation, he is just an expert. At making out his expense account, he is an absolute genius.
Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Home Office, American Continental Life Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of my expenditures fulfilling your assignment as a bodyguard, the body being that of your late policyholder, Robert W. Perry. Expense account item 1. Fare on night train Hartford to New York, $3.80. Expense account item 2. $1.80 taxi to Lower Manhattan the following morning. To officers Perry and Van Bruten, importers, arriving as promised at exactly 9 a.m.
Good morning. May I help you?
Yeah, my name is Johnny Dollar. I have an appointment with Mr. Perry for 9 o'clock.
Oh, yes, from the insurance company. Well, you're right on time.
Yeah, they told me I'd better be.
Mr. Perry just came in. He's alone and waiting for you. I'll buzz him that you're here.
Thanks. What was left of your policyholder, Mr. Perry, was just sliding out of his swivel chair as I hit the room. The top of his desk had erupted, and splinters of mahogany pointed their sharp fingers upward through lazy circles of smoke swirling toward the ceiling. The buzzer from his secretary's desk had been rigged to a booby trap.
Oh, no, Mr. Perry.
Stay away from him. There's nothing you can do for him. He's dead.
Oh, what happened? What happened? Whatever happened?
Come on, let's get back out of here. Here you are now. Sit down. I'll get you a drink of water. Here you are. Just drink this.
What happened?
We had an explosion.
I turned in an alarm.
Is anybody hurt?
There's a doctor on the third floor. Should I call him?
Never mind the doctor. Call the police. And nobody gets in here until they arrive. And the rest of you, go on, beat it. Run along. And turn off that alarm. Okay, miss. Now, just take it easy.
But it was all so sudden. What happened?
Well, that's not too hard to figure out. Somebody wanted to give your boss, Mr. Perry, a shortcut through life. So, whoever it was, figured out that a secretary would never buzz her boss unless he was at his desk. They rigged up a bomb somewhere in his desk that would go off when you buzzed him.
Oh, but then I killed him.
Now, wait a minute. Don't get hysterical on me. There's excitement enough around here, and there'll be plenty more when the police get here. Keep cool.
But I did it. You saw me do it.
Look, the way you put it, I killed him by coming in here and giving you my name so you'd buzz him. Drop it, will you?
I'm sorry.
Now, what about yesterday? Was he here?
Yes, all day.
What time was it when you last used the buzzer?
Like, right up to the last minute, about 5:30.
Who left the office first, you or Perry?
Mr. Perry, he always leaves first, and I lock up.
Looks of things, you should have used more locks last night. Somebody got in here to do some wiring. Uh-oh, I forgot that fire alarm. All that equipment and no fire. Look, before the police arrive, do you know why I was sent here?
Yes. Mr. Perry recently felt that his life was in danger. He thought that, well, with a $100,000 policy, the insurance company would do everything they could to help keep him alive.
Well, we didn't have much of a chance, did we? What was he afraid of?
I don't know.
Okay. What were his other appointments for today?
He only had 2. His partner, Mr. Van Bruten, at 11, and then...
One at a time now. Van Bruten. Anything special about their meeting?
Yes. Mr. Van Bruten arrived just yesterday from Holland.
You mean there was a branch of this firm in Holland?
Yes, and Mr. Perry was buying out Van Bruten's interest. They had their final meeting at Van Bruten's hotel last night.
Oh?
And Van Bruten was coming by this morning to pick up his money.
Cash?
No, a cashier's check. The bank is to deliver here at 10:30.
Now, quick. Perry's other appointment. Who was that?
Christine, his wife.
Oh, yeah. Now Christine, the beneficiary.
Yes, but she wouldn't have been the beneficiary in another 2 weeks. They were getting a divorce.
Thanks for the motive. You don't like her?
I didn't mean it that way.
How about Perry? Did you like him? Okay, well, here's an easy one. What's your name?
Susan Gates. Now, isn't that about enough?
Okay, Susan, you'd better save your voice. During the next few hours, you're going to have a lot of talking to do. Oh, here come the firemen, and we haven't even got a child to ask them to save.
Where's the fire? I'm looking for a fire.
Just stick around. When the cops get here, somebody will get burned. The firemen should have stuck around because the cops arrived in a blaze of glory. It was a very high-class investigation. 2 lieutenants. Finally, after about an hour, the police photographer ran out of flash bulbs, the office of the deceased ran out of fingerprints, and the lieutenants ran out of questions. So the on-the-scene phase of the investigation was closed. At about 5 minutes of 11, I left the police to pack up their notebooks, their clues, and the body, and went into the outer office. Susan looked like she could use a big, broad shoulder to weep on, but unfortunately, I was wearing my light gray suit. About then, a dark blue suit and a deep green voice entered the room from the corridor.
Say, there's some feller out here says he belongs here. His name is Van Bruten. Shall I let him in?
Oh, what do you think? His name is on the door you just opened.
Oh, indeed, now. Well, my name happens to be Murphy, and it's on beds all over the country. But that don't mean I'm stuffed with feathers, does it?
This'll teach you, Johnny Dollar, never to cross tongues with an Irishman. Okay, send him in, officer.
Yeah. All right, you can come in.
The policeman out there. Is there trouble here? Oh, I am Bremer Van Bruten. Where's Mr. Perry?
What?
He's waiting for me, no?
No.
But my appointment.
He's not keeping any. He's dead.
Dead? This is impossible. Last night I saw him. He was well. What happened?
He was hit by a buzz bomb.
The bus bomb?
Please.
Oh, sorry. I forgot other people aren't used to these things.
You mean that was foul play?
Very foul.
Please, may I sit down? My first visit in all these years, since before the war. It was to be so happy. Now, tragedy like this. He was a good man, a good partner.
I understand that as of last night, you were no longer partners.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I realize, of course, that it is indelicate to speak of such things as money at a time like this. But that is why I'm here, to receive my payment.
Oh, just because Perry got his, there's no reason for you not getting yours, huh?
But you misunderstand me. I am deeply grieved. Since the transaction was consummated, what is there to do? A delay would be a needless waste of money. I have already paid for passage back to Amsterdam tomorrow.
Your check is here, Mr. Van Bruten. Here you are.
Thank you. In all my years of business, this is indeed the saddest moment.
Yeah, those are very kind words, Van Bruten, and I'd believe them if your eyes would stop counting all the zeros on that check. Expense account, item 3, 90 cents. Phone call to your company.
American Continental Life Insurance Company, good morning.
Oh, well, that's a matter of opinion. This is Johnny Dollar. Put me through to Mr. Gordon, will you?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gordon's office.
Look, honey, this is Johnny Dollar. I want to speak to Gordon. Oh, and while I'm telling him what I've got to tell him, maybe you'd better sit in his lap with some smelling salts.
I'm not that type of a secretary. And besides, he doesn't have a lap.
Hello, Dollar. How are you making out?
Out about $100,000.
What's that?
Yeah, somebody turned Mr. Perry into a firecracker. He's dead.
Oh, that's bad news. It's a big policy, you know.
Yeah. Look, what I want to know is, shall I stay on the case?
Oh, certainly, Dollar. Certainly, by all means. By the way, is there a chance of proving suicide? There's a non-payment clause.
To make this one a suicide, there'd have to be a Santa clause. Nobody could hate himself enough to do it this way.
Well, what are the fraud possibilities?
Only fair. There's an estranged wife. She's the beneficiary, but she wouldn't have been in a couple of weeks. Divorce coming up. I'll start with her.
All right, Dollar. Good luck. But watch those expenses.
Why, Gordon, I'm surprised. I think an insurance man would be the first to want to see a fellow live a little. Expense account, item 3. Cab fare, $2.80. Tip to driver, $1. Christine Perry's apartment was on Sutton Place, overlooking the river. And from what the doorman told me, all of the proprieties. I took the elevator up to the 24th floor, and there I discovered that our garden-fresh widow was living high in more ways than one. Everything about the place was French. The maid that led me into the living room, the decor, and the perfume, which reminded you that breathing can be fun. I looked up from enjoying my nose to see Mrs. Perry looking down hers.
Mr. Dollar,
Oh, Mrs. Perry.
I believe we can dispense with any getting acquainted. You're an insurance investigator, interested in the death of my husband. So naturally, you're here because you've jumped to the conclusion that I killed him.
Oh? You're the one that's jumping to conclusions, lady.
Then what do you want? The policy's in order. The premiums are fully paid.
I'm not quite sure. I know that you've got a great motive. So far, the only motive I've found.
You haven't had much time to look, have you?
Check. This is my first stop. Maybe you can help me. Do you know anyone who would be happier with your husband out of the way?
I know very little about my husband's friends, or for that matter, his activities for the past 6 months. That's when I left him.
Uh-huh. Well, that's not much help for either of us. Well, without someone else to suspect, I may just have to concentrate on you.
Mr. Dollar, I picked the men I want to concentrate on me.
Well, I hope you're as long on alibis as you are short on your temper. Where were you last night?
With a friend, Al Donovan. For a while, the same place my husband was. And I've witnesses to prove who was with him. Anybody at the Club Caprice can tell you.
Well, save me a trip. I can't afford the prices they get there.
Certainly, pleasure. My husband was with his beautiful little secretary, Susan Gates.
Well, I wouldn't be more surprised if your late husband walked through the door and said that...
All right, mister, that's enough.
Al!
Yeah.
How much did you
I'm
give?
a big guy, baby, 6'4", and I've got big ears to match.
Al, please!
Would this be Mr. Donovan, your companion of last evening?
I'm getting you out of here, Christine.
I don't know what you're saying.
You lie to me. How can I help you if you lie to me? You call me stupid. The way you're playing this, you'll alibi yourself right into a cell. I'm getting you out of here.
What are you doing to me, Al? You're crazy.
Come on.
She's right. You are stupid, Donovan. She was doing just fine till you dropped in.
Mister, you've been asking a lot of questions. Now I'll give you one answer.
Al, you...
All right, Christine. So much for the wise guy. Now about you and your alibi. You wasn't with me at the Club Caprice last night, and if it's so easy to prove your husband was there with his secretary, who were you there with? You told me you were going with your husband, talking divorce, remember?
When Al measured me for that swing, I measured my chances with him. To me, he looked like one of the corporate assets of Murder Incorporated. So I rolled with a punch, hit the floor, and stayed there, with my eyes closed and my ears opened. What I heard was Christine's alibi flying out the window, Mr. Donovan giving her a few loving cuffs, and finally the pair of them flying out the door. I allowed myself the luxury of a 20-second massage on the new lump on my jaw, and then I got up and started out after them. This case was becoming interesting.
In just a moment, we'll return to the second act of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar. But first, this important message. $60 million is what the Red Cross needs to carry on its great work in 1949. If this seems like a lot, just try to review briefly the various activities of the Red Cross. It can't be done briefly. Red Cross services extend into every area of our lives, bringing care, comfort, and recreation to the men of the armed forces, bringing first aid training, nutritional programs, nursing services, blood banks to our own communities. And all the time, as these activities go on uninterrupted, the Red Cross is holding itself ready to spring into instant action in case of disaster. Fire, flood, explosion, any sort of catastrophe finds the Red Cross on the scene with food, clothing, and medical care. $60 million isn't so much in the light of such activity. We can make it with each of us contributing. We're giving to our own safety, security, and peace of mind, and to our neighbors, too. So let's give generously to our own Red Cross. And now back to the second act of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar.
I hit the street just in time to see Donovan pushing Christine Perry into a cream-colored convertible. When they got rolling, I piled into a cab and followed them, and the chase was on. At 57th and Broadway, things got complicated. My cab was 3 cars behind theirs when a red light flashed them to a stop. Then the door of their convertible flew open. Christine jumped out, dashed across the street, and down into the subway. Since Donovan didn't follow her, I followed him. When he finally pulled to a stop, he took 2 chances. He parked in a no-parking zone and walked straight into the building beside it, a police station.
This is Mr. Dollar, Lieutenant. He's been waiting for you for some time.
Huh? Well, you can wait outside, Sergeant.
Okay, sir.
My name is Johnny Dollar, Lieutenant. Here are my credentials.
Insurance, huh?
Yeah, the Perry murder in particular.
Well, you've come to the right place, Dollar. A man named Donovan just walked in here and made a full confession.
He what?
That's right. My clerk's just typing it up. In the meantime, the gentleman is down in the tank having a bite of lunch on the city.
He confessed. Does his story add up?
As far as I know. I haven't heard too much about the case myself. It's not in my precinct.
What did he use for a motive?
Jealousy. Says he's in love. Wanted to marry Perry's wife.
Did he say how he managed it?
Yeah. He stole a key to the office from the wife's apartment, entered the building last night, and wired a bomb to the buzzer system.
Uh-huh. Well, guys do a lot of strange things in the name of love.
Yeah, looks like Donovan did.
Yeah. He either killed a man, or he's trying to cover up for someone who did. Well, listen, don't execute him for a couple of days. Huh, Lieutenant? I spent the rest of the afternoon downtown in the offices of Perry and Van Bruten, importers. The partners' correspondents told me two things. They had been extremely friendly, and Van Bruten was extremely bald. Perry had been sending him toupees from a famous Hollywood makeup firm. At 4:30, I opened the drawer marked Employment Files. They rocked me with two minor explosions of their own. The folder marked Donovan Albert J. told me that he'd been employed as Perry's bodyguard over a period of years and that he was canned the day before the murder. Before I received blast number 2 from the folder of Perry's secretary, Susan Gates, the office door opened behind me.
Well, Mr. Dollar, you're supplied with a search warrant, I hope?
Just the one I was born with, Mrs. Perry. The kind they say kills cats. You know, curiosity.
What are you looking for?
I found it. How about you? What are you doing here?
Oh, I'm tired of dueling with you. I'm here because I want to... Well, I've got to talk to someone. I called your hotel. You weren't there. I tried to locate Susan, but I couldn't, so... I thought maybe you'd be down here.
What's the basis of our sudden friendship?
You should know. Al Donovan's confession.
The newspapers have it already?
Yes, but there's not a word of truth in it. He didn't kill my husband.
How do you know that?
Because... What? Why, it's impossible, that's all.
Yeah, it was a little hard for me to swallow, too, when the police told me about it. But since then, it's become a little more digestible.
What do you mean?
I just learned that he was your husband's bodyguard. He was fired yesterday. That same day, your husband calls his insurance company screaming for another bodyguard. Now, how would that add up for you? A beef, maybe?
Al Donovan's a fool. Never thinks. He just rushes in and says or does whatever's on his mind. He told my husband if he didn't divorce me that... Well, he threatened him.
You know, you came in here saying that Donovan's confession was no good, and you spend your time making it sound better and better. What do you want, anyway?
I can't help it. I've got to tell you the truth. I know it doesn't sound like I'm trying to help Al, but what can I do?
You really want me to answer that? Here. If you want to help Al, phone the police. Tell them Donovan made that phony confession to cover up for you. It's simple.
Not as simple as that.
You don't need the gun, Christine.
Hang up the phone.
Sure.
I hope you don't mind my aversion to being held for murder myself.
Well, that's a common aversion. I'm in no hurry to see you behind bars. But don't forget, when the cops want to pick you up, they'll do it. Now, don't spoil the rest of the afternoon. Take that gun someplace else. I've got things to do.
The first, I imagine, will be the call that I wouldn't make.
Not necessarily. If it'll make you feel any better, we'll just put this phone out of order. Satisfied?
Of course not. But don't get me wrong, Mr. Dollar. I wish you nothing but success in your investigation.
I puzzled over that exit line for a few seconds after she'd gone, and then I went back to the company's employment file. Namely, the application for employment as secretary of Susan Gates. It informed me that during the war she had worked in a munitions plant. Her specialty, wiring bomb fuses. When Miss Susan Gates reached home at 8:30 that evening, she found a visitor, me.
you get in
A
here?
professional secret.
Oh, you scared me. What do you want? Why did you come here?
I wanted to bring you the good news. I heard on the radio that Al Donovan confessed to Perry's murder.
Al! I can't believe it.
Why not? Who do you like for the spot?
Why, Christine. Al is covering up for her.
I'd like to agree with you. If it turns out that Christine wound up her husband's life with a bang, the company that hired me saves $100,000. But I don't know. She claims she has all kinds of alibis. One of them is you.
Me?
Yeah. Did you see her at the Club Caprice last night?
Why, yes.
I know who you were with. Your boss.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, I'm not preaching a sermon. I want to know who she was with.
I don't know. A man I'd never seen before. Mr. Perry knew him, but he wouldn't tell me who he was.
Why not?
I don't know. He said I might get the wrong idea.
About what?
I don't know. We didn't sit there and talk about it all night. Why should we sit here and talk about it all night?
All right, all right. When a census taker shows up and asks a lot of questions, people answer them. When an investigator tries to do his job, they make the proverbial clam look like a blabbermouth.
Look, Mr. Dollar, believe me, this has been a greater shock to me than to anyone else.
Excepting, of course, your late employer, Mr. Perry. How long did you work for him?
4 years.
Now, where'd you work before then?
Why, Oh.
Let me help you. Bombs, wiring fuses. Remember?
All right, I remember.
Good. Then maybe you'll remember a little bit more. Let's go back to last night. The guy with Christine Perry. Who was he?
I tell you, I don't know.
Was it Van Bruten?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I mean...
I'll get that.
No, I'll go.
You make sure you just don't keep going. Susan! When Susan snapped the spring lock to open the door, the gun outside opened up. The first slug caught her in the left shoulder, spinning her out of the way of the rest of them. It was getting monotonous. Every time a buzzer went off, things started booming. Susan was sprawled out on the floor in front of the door, and to open it, I had to move her. By the time I did, the hallway outside was empty. Okay. Come on, take it easy. It won't start hurting for a couple of minutes. And we'll have a doctor here by then. He'll give you something. Now, just try and keep calm. Here, I'll throw my coat over you. Now, try not to move.
Oh. Trying to ruin this rug.
Never mind the rug. What we want to worry about is who tried to ruin you.
What'll they do to me?
What will who do to you?
They'll arrest me.
No, they don't arrest people for getting shot. You have any idea who it was?
That man in the office this morning. The one who picked up the check.
Van Bruten?
No, he wasn't Van Bruten.
He was a phony.
Yes.
And you still gave him that check?
Yes.
Well, I won't ask you why. But apparently you gave him the money and then tried to blackmail him. Is that right?
They'll arrest me.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Who is this guy? Where can I find him?
Oh,
Come on, now, don't pass out on me now. His name, quick.
Van Sant.
Where's he live?
Nelson Hotel.
Under his own name?
Oh, I don't.
I don't blame you. I could use a few moments of unconsciousness myself. The Nelson Hotel didn't have a Dutch name on the register, so I got a hold of the housekeeper and found out how many rooms her staff hadn't been able to make up all day because of Do Not Disturb signs on their doors. I went a-calling at these particular rooms. On the 9th floor, I awakened one old maid. On the 7th, I startled a bunch of poker players who thought they were being raided. On the 5th, I blushed my way out of the bridal suite. And on the 4th, I struck the door of 427. And the jackpot.
Who's there? Don't you see the sign? I do not wish to be disturbed.
Oh, sorry, I must have the wrong room. I started up the hall after the fire axe, but when I got to it, I changed my mind. One of the few things I'd learned about this guy Van Sant was that he loved to murder people through doors, so I decided against trying to chop his down. Then I remembered the way those people came pouring out of those offices earlier in the day when they heard that fire alarm. So I picked up the little red hammer next to the big red fire axe, broke the little glass window, pulled the little brass hook, and set off a big brassy noise. Then I rushed back to 427. Fire! Fire!
Where's the fire?
Right here in my eyes, sweetheart.
Why you come here? You wish you hadn't.
Never mind the dresser. You're through shooting guns for the day. What do you think, Van Sant? You want to try some more?
You cannot make me stay here. The fire. We will all die.
You look good barbecued, but I'll make a deal with you. You talk. And if I like what I hear, I'll show you how to get out of here alive.
How do I know this?
Well, you don't think I'm going to stay here and fry, do you? And if you don't start flapping that tongue in a hurry, I'll probably just tie you to a chair and run. First, where's Van Bruten?
You will find him in the bedroom.
He better be alive. He's out cold. What's the matter with him?
He will be all right. He is on the sedatives.
Where did this identity switch start? You better hurry up. I smell smoke.
I knew Van Bruten in Amsterdam. I knew about the sale of his interest. And I knew that the girl in the office here had never seen Van Bruten. Well, let's go now.
Now, don't get up. I can feel it getting warm in here.
The firefighters. We will be saved.
Now, don't be too sure. They always start at the top floor and work their way down. Come on, I can hear those flames crackling.
You know the rest. Last night, when the transaction was all finished with Perry, I gave to Van Bruten some sedative in his cocoa.
You set up that bomb so Perry'd get it before you showed up to pick up the check.
Yeah, I told you that. Then it happened that girl didn't know I was an imposter. I don't know how.
Well, let me tell you. She's been sending old Van Bruten in there toupees for the last 4 years. Gray ones, my red-headed friend.
Oh, yeah. Let us get out of here, no?
Yeah, out cold. Expense account item 4, $1.40. Night letter informing you that American Continental would have to meet payment of claim to Mrs. Christine Perry, innocent widow of the insured. The only thing she was guilty of was trying to stay on the right side of a hot-tempered boyfriend. She lied about who she was with at the Club Caprice, not to fix herself an alibi, but to keep Al Donovan from learning that she'd been out with another guy. That guy being the real Mr. Van Bruten, who had only taken her out to try to talk her into reconciling with his friend, her husband. Item 5, $60, silver chafing dish. Wedding present for Christine and her new husband, Al Donovan. Well, that was the least she could do for the guy who had confessed to a murder he thought she had committed. Item 6, $8, flowers for Susan Gates, prison hospital. Item 7, fine for turn false alarm, $1,000 and no cents. And that's what I think I'm beginning to get for getting into this racket. No sense. Expense account total, $1,263. Yours, truly, Johnny Dollar.
In just a moment, we'll tell you about next week's Johnny Dollar adventure. But first, this reminder. Just a little earlier tonight on CBS, Jack Benny turned dramatic actor on the Ford Theater. But this Sunday, he'll be back again on his own show with a special treat for the Jack Benny fans. After the last broadcast on which the Ronald Colemans appeared, thousands of letters came in from fans asking that Jack invite Ronnie and Benita back again soon. The Waukegan Wit did, and Ronnie and Benita, by popular demand, return to the Jack Benny program this Sunday in what should result in one of the most hilarious broadcasts of the year. So be sure to listen to Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman on the Jack Benny Show, which is heard on all CBS stations this Sunday. Listen in again next week when CBS brings you Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar, with Charles Russell as Johnny. Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar is written by Paul Dudley and Gil Dowd, with music by Mark Warnow, and is produced and directed by Richard Sandville for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Columbia Broadcasting System presents Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar. The next half hour has its baggage packed to take a trip with America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator, Johnny Dollar. At insurance investigation, he is just an expert. At making out his expense account, he is an absolute genius.
Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Home Office, Nutmeg State Casualty and Bonding Company, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of my expenditures during investigation of series of accidents affecting your policyholder, the Funfair and Weatherly Carnival shows, or how I went for a spin on a case we might refer to as murder is a merry-go-round. Expense account item 1, 25 cents. Purchase of billboard, theatrical magazine, to check the route of Funfair and Weatherly Carnival shows. Expense account item 2, $68. Air and train fares to Talladega, Alabama. Item 3, $1.10. Cab fare and what was only a fair imitation of a cab from Talladega Depot to the dusty vacant lot which had overnight found itself wearing theatrical makeup. Brightly as the hot sun beat down on the midway, it couldn't help the layout of canvas and slats from looking beat up. A perspiring mechanic shot sparks of profanity back at an obstinate motor as he tried to get it to roll the giant hoop of a Ferris wheel. I asked him what he knew about the accident of a week before when a car dropped off the same Ferris wheel, badly injuring 3. He was charming.
Listen, pretty boy. Don't go getting nosy around here.
The Joe in charge of the electric scooter concession was just as sweet. On the subject of how come one of his scooters blew up a few nights back, sending a citizen to the hospital, he just didn't feel like talking.
If you ain't a cop, start moving. If you are, where's your warrant?
I was just asking the pilot of the giant airplane spin who he thought might have cut the cables the night one of his wallboard gliders took off across the carnival crowd, crashing and busting up a few more customers, when I got a canvassman's version of a sharp answer, a tent stake right behind my ear.
Well, those sleeping beauties waking up, huh?
Who are you?
I thought maybe you'd be sick of asking questions. First, maybe you better answer a few. Before you get up. Number 1, who are you?
A pilgrim from Hartford.
Never mind the double talk, wise guy. What's your name?
My name is Johnny Dollar, but right now I feel like 2 cents.
What's your big interest in those accidents you were asking questions about?
Strictly academic. I'm only representing the insurance company that's paying off on those accidents. Now maybe you'll tell me who you are and where I am.
I thought you guys were smarter. Dollar, I'll let you in on a little secret. Next time you want to find something out on a traveling show, get to the boss first. Asking a lot of questions around a circus or carnival lot is unhealthy.
Where is the boss, Miss Pepper?
Louise is in the other end of this trailer. She'll be right out. Okay, you can get up on your feet.
Oh, thanks. I hope you don't mind if I don't stay up on him. I feel more like sitting down.
Go ahead.
You still haven't told me who you are.
My name's Brennan.
Oh, yeah, Shanty Brennan. Yeah, you're the general manager of the show. They told me all about you. Louisa Pepper's right arm and strong arm. How long will she be?
She's getting dressed. Just finished taking a nap. We drove all night to get here. How about having a blast with me while you're waiting?
No, thanks. I haven't enjoyed a noon bottle since I was 2. But don't let me stop you.
Thanks. Oh. You sure you won't have one?
I'm sure. Brennan, the insurance company's been checking up on your show. The police chiefs in the last 10 towns you've played say it's a clean one.
We haven't got a pickpocket or a grifter on the lot.
But plenty of trouble, huh, during those past 10 stops?
At least once a night somebody's got hurt. But never any of us. It's always 1 or 2 of the townies, the citizens. Last night a car on the whip cut loose. That sent 4 to the hospital.
4 more insurance claims for Nutmeg State Casualty and Bonding, huh?
Yeah, and 1 more town we won't be able to play again for a couple of years. It's a wonder we didn't travel out of that town last night by rail, tarred and feathered.
For 10 straight nights now, you've had at least 1 big accident every night. What's your guess, Brennan? Has fate taken a steady job on your show, or is somebody out to get you?
Somebody's out to get us.
Okay, well, do you have any idea?
Oh. Why didn't you tell me we were entertaining a gentleman, Shanty? Had to put on some more clothes.
It would have taken a lot more clothes to cover all there was of Louisa Pepper. She looked like an aging Cupid doll, but even in a carnival, she was no prize. I didn't like the look in her eye. It looked much too friendly. So right away, I decided to change the unspoken subject. Miss Pepper, I'm here on business, insurance.
Sorry, we're not buying any.
And I'm not selling any. The way things have been going, the insurance company I represent would probably like to buy some of yours back.
Oh?
Yeah. I'm from the Nutmeg State Casualty, investigating the accidents.
Huh. Hope you find out more than we've been able to, and fast, before we go broke. The word's traveling one town ahead of us. They got us pegged for a dangerous midway.
Have you been using police protection?
20 extra cops a night at $10 a cop. So, night before last, a guy winds up with a hammer to try and ring the bell and win a cigar. The top of the hammer flies off and almost brains a cop. Huh. Around this show, the police need protection.
I see what you mean. How are you fixed for people who don't like you? We got many to choose from?
Dollar, we treat our help fair and square. We know them all and trust them all.
Fire anybody lately?
Nobody. The only ones who left were floaters. But none of them had a beef.
Okay, Miss Pepper. Now think back. In all your life, who do you know who'd most like to see you have a real bad time?
Only one guy. And he's not around.
Dead?
As good as. He's in jail. Has been for the last 8.5 years.
That's a long time. How long did he go up for?
10 years.
What are you thinking, Dollar?
I'm thinking that with time off for good behavior, maybe he's not in jail.
Not in jail? Shanty, he's got to be in jail. He's got to be, I tell you. You told me you were keeping...
All right, break it up, Louisa. If Carter Lacey had a voice as sharp as yours, he could saw his way out of jail. Okay, Dollar, you made a guess. How about seeing how good it is?
Sure. I'll find out if your bogeyman is still in jail, but I didn't catch that name.
Lacey. Carter Lacey.
And where's he been in the pokey?
Massachusetts State Prison, at Charleston.
Well, what did he go up for?
What's that to you?
Cut it, Louisa. Dollar, we sent Carter Lacey to jail for attempted murder. He tried to kill Louisa's niece, Myrtle.
Is she around?
He's running the snake show on the Midway. Dollar, how soon can you check whether Carter got out?
As soon as I can make a telephone call. But, Shanny, before I do, I'd like to elaborate on that guess I made. Now I'd not only guess that Carter Lacey is out of jail, but I'd also guess that he's been out a little over 10 days. Expense account, item 4, $3. Telephone call to Massachusetts State Prison, confirming both of my guesses. Carter Lacey had checked out of the Bay State's Hotel Greystone for bad boys 2 weeks previously. Item 5, $32. Telephone calls to various hotels in the last 10 towns the Fun Fair and Weatherly Carnival shows had played. Item 6, 10 cents. 2 nickels spent calling 2 hotels right here in Talladega. Then I dropped 1 more nickel in the telephone, got the lucky number.
Yes, sir, we do have a Mr. Carter Lacey registered. Room 312. Shall I go?
And hit the jackpot. Expense account item 7, 65 cents. Cab fare to Sunshine Hotel. Tip the driver, $1. From the lobby, I called room 312. He invited me up. I invited him down. I knew I'd feel better talking to Carter Lacey with a lot of people around. They'd make nice witnesses if he suddenly got homesick for prison life and used me as his ticket back. I waited in the coffee shop. The waitress brought me a cup of coffee, and my palate went to work refereeing a one-sided bout between the strong Java and the weak cream.
Hello. Dollar?
All right. Sit down.
Thanks.
So you're Carter Lacey, huh? Have some coffee?
No, thanks. It keeps me awake nights.
How about your conscience? Having the same trouble with that?
My conscience deserves an 8.5-year rest. But it can't start its vacation until I even up a few scores.
Busting up carnivals.
Child's play. Look, Dollar, over the phone, you told me you're an insurance investigator. You can save your company a lot of money.
How?
Call them up and tell them not to insure the lives of 3 people. Because any minute now, 2 of them are going to be dead.
Louisa Pepper, Anise Myrtle, and Shanty Brennan.
Yeah, Dollar. I'm going to kill 2 of those people. The other one's still my friend who's going to help me do it. In case you don't know your law, Dollar, don't bother calling the cops. I can't be held for making a threat unless I put it in writing.
Well, Lacey, I don't know what your beef is against the people running that carnival, but those accidents have been hurting a lot of innocent bystanders.
Dollar, You're talking to a guy who really knows what it means. Getting hurt as an innocent bystander.
Expense account, item 8, $25. Retainer to local detective agency hiring shadow for Mr. Carter Lacey. Explanation, an ounce of crime prevention is worth a ton of trials. Item 9, $1.20. Cab fare back for the evening's festivities at the Fun Fair and Weatherly Carnival, which was rapidly becoming more and more of a thrill show. Expense account, item 10, 30 cents. Down payment on ulcer, eating supper at what the Carney people call a grease joint. I made my way among the trailers that were lined up behind the midway, and as I looked for the one housing Louisa Pepper's snake-charming niece Myrtle, the burning sensation around my heart wasn't all caused by the hot dogs I'd just eaten.
Who is it?
I've got a message from Carter Lacey.
What did you say?
I said I've got a message from Carter Lacey. For you and your Aunt Louisa, Shanty Brennan. You're the only one I haven't met yet, so I thought I'd deliver it to you first.
Where is he?
In town. Got any snakes in the trailer?
No, of course not.
All right, then. How about inviting me?
Are you the insurance guy they told me about?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, come in. What did Lacey say?
He said that he's going to kill 2 of the 3 of you.
Which 2? Didn't he say?
No, he didn't. He just said that 2 of you are going to get it. And that his one friend among you, the remaining one, is going to help him do it.
He'll do it. He hates us. I know he'll kill it. You say Louisa and Shanty don't know yet?
No, they don't. You're the first to know.
Well, then wait here. I'll run tell him. I'll stop back here before I go into the tent to do my next show. Grab yourself a drink. I'll be right back.
But she wasn't right back, and it's just as well she wasn't. She might have interrupted me while taking a sightseeing trip through the drawers in the trailer's built-in bureau. The piles of silky nothings that give gals that certain something didn't tell me anything I hadn't known about women before. But a little black book stashed among them did. I needn't have rushed my search, though, because Myrtle Pepper was still gone after 10 minutes. That's about the time I headed back to her Aunt Louisa's trailer, pulled open the door, and walked in.
You scared me, Della, barging in like that.
Mr. Dollar, I told you I'd be right back.
Did Myrtle here deliver Mr. Lacey's little love letters?
Yes, the fool. He always was a fool. He can't kill us.
You mean it's against the law?
I mean, it's impossible, that's all.
Look, Miss Pepper, you and your niece here are both plenty scared. While you're out shaking those cooch dancers you got working over on the midway. Myrtle, have you told Shanty about Lacey's threat?
Yeah, I met him on the way over here. Asked him if he'd feed my snakes before showtime. They're dangerous to work with if they're hungry. Yeah, I told him. He said he'd join us here.
What did he say when you told him?
He said if Lacey had one of us helping him, then the 3 of us had better stick together so we could at least watch each other.
Smart man. He had a good idea. I see the 3 of you had better stick close to each other, beginning right now. Come on.
Where are we going?
Over to the snake tent. And when we get there, Myrtle, you'll be the only one of us who'll be among friends. The 3 of us left Louisa's trailer. We walked past the back of the shooting gallery concession right in the front of it. And along the back of the line of canvas shanties. We stopped at one. Myrtle pulled back the canvas flap, and I stepped in ready for anything. With the ladies not far behind me, I edged slowly over to the square red board fence set up in the center of the tent. There were danger signs splashed in white paint along the outside walls of the pit. I clenched my teeth and looked down through the wire mesh top at a slithering tangle of writhing, angry reptiles. And there, lying among them with a vicious red welt splashing his forehead, was Shanty Brennan. He was feeding the snakes, all right.
In just a moment, we'll return to the second act of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. But first, here's some news. 30 minutes of new thrills will be added to CBS 10 great Sunday night entertainments this coming Sunday. At 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you formerly heard Spike Jones, CBS will bring you screen star John Lund in an adventure-packed tale of a ship filled with terror and horror. This story, A Shipment of Mute Fate, starring John Lund, is the first of 3 special broadcasts from CBS' famous Escape series. It will be heard over most of these stations immediately preceding a familiar show which brings you a different kind of escape, The Jack Benny Show. And now, back to yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
I'd just seen a murder mystery where the actors had been hissing instead of the audience. The lead character in that snake pit wasn't going to win any Academy Award. The scene of the crime was no place for a man, let alone a woman, so I herded Auntie Louisa and her niece Myrtle out of the tent and back into the trailer.
Oh, poor Shetty. Oh, horrible. Yes, I was wrong, Dollar, when I said Carter Lacey couldn't do it.
What's going to happen to us?
According to what Lacey told me, Myrtle, what's supposed to happen is only going to happen to one of you.
What do you mean?
Well, he claims that one of you was in this with him, and that one knows she's safe. This may turn out to be an acting contest between you two.
What's that crack supposed to mean?
Well, the one who's safe wouldn't want anybody to know she feels safe, huh?
Oh. I wish I had learned to cry.
Louisa, you don't think it's me?
Well, I know it ain't me.
Oh, ladies, how about observing a moment of silence in memory of the deceased while I give you a few instructions? Okay. Have you got a gun in here, Louisa?
Yes, and a license to carry it.
Good. Where is it? The gun, not license.
I won't give it to you.
Well, if you don't, people might get to thinking that you're Carter Lacey's girlfriend and accomplice. Anyway, I don't want the gun to take with me. I want to leave it here. Where is it?
In that drawer right over there.
Which end of the drawer?
What's the matter with you, blind? You'll see it.
I'm not turning my back on you. Which end?
You'd make a lousy trapeze out of Dollar. You don't take any chances. This end, toward me.
Thanks. Well, now where are the keys to the car hitched to the front of this land yacht?
What are they for, Dollar?
Just another chance I'm not taking. With those keys in my pocket, this trailer won't be joyriding anybody off into the night. Where are they?
I'll get them for you.
Wait a minute, Myrtle. How come you know where Louisa's keys were?
Yeah, Myrtle. How come?
Because, well, they're laying right there in plain sight.
Oh. Thanks. Now I'm going out and call the police. Louisa, I want you to get into that chair down at the other end of the trailer.
Okay, General. You got the gun.
And you, Myrtle, get on that bunk down at the other end.
I don't understand all this.
And now, ladies, while I'm gone, I don't want one of you gals to be knocking off the other. But on the other hand, I can't leave you here without protection. So I'm leaving the gun right here on this table in the middle of the trailer. And if Carter Lacey comes knocking at your door, you can have yourselves a race for the gun. Expense account item 11, 5 cents. Telephone call to the local police, plus another nickel spent calling a taxi. The cops arrived in 4 minutes, the cab in 15. Its driver had no siren to take him through the traffic lights. Item 12, $1.10. Cab fare on an exceedingly slow and torturous trip to the Sunshine Hotel. Tip to his kind of a driver, a nickel. I went up to the 3rd floor and headed down the hall to Carter Lacey's room, 312. I rapped for an entrance, but all that came back was an echo. The lock on the door was the soft touch type known to the trade as the burglar's friend, so I went in. Stars fell in Alabama? Oh. Stiffs fell in Alabama tonight. Oh, Operator, this is an emergency call. Let me have the Talladega police, will you? Hello? Police department? This is the same guy who just called you from the carnival to report a murder. Yeah, well, you can send in the 2nd team. I've got another one for you over here at the Sunshine Hotel. Room 312. A party's just been strangled. Yes, I'm sure. Lots of bruises and deep-set fingernail marks on the throat. Sure, I know who it is. The name of the deceased is Myrtle Pepper. Myrtle Pepper certainly had been a fast worker. She not only had beat me down to the hotel, she'd managed to get herself killed in the bargain. I dusted the room for information, which was obviously more than the floor mate had done for dirt, and came up with a kind of an eye-opener you don't drink. a pint-sized surprise in the form of some old newspaper clippings and Carter Lacey's prison release form. And what let him out let me in on something. I got out of the room into the elevator, and when I hit the lobby wondering where to start looking for him, I found him sitting there looking at me.
Hi.
Why do you want to talk, Lacey?
I don't want to. But if you want to try and make me, what's the matter with right here?
Okay. I supplied you with an alibi today. I don't see him in the lobby.
That detective? He had stomach trouble. He got kicked in it. You can reach him at the city hospital. You know, in prison, I was a trustee. I get out, nobody trusts me.
Oh, with that forecast you gave me this morning, what else?
Forecast?
Yeah. You predicted that you'll kill 2 people. Well, tonight the 2 people are dead. Shanty out at the carnival, and now Myrtle up in your room. What does that make you?
A good forecaster.
Or the killer, maybe?
Thanks for the maybe. Look, Dollar, I came to this town to take care of something. I took care of it. If you want to yell cop, go ahead. From now on, nothing bothers me.
Well, then stop chewing your nails. You told me this morning that one of those 3 people was working with you. There's only one left. And suddenly, Lacey, I don't believe your story.
Suddenly, I don't care.
Shanty Brennan lied to me this morning. He said that you went to prison on a charge of attempted murder. Your prison release papers say you went up for grand larceny.
You see what happens to bad little boys that tell lies?
I'm not through yet. I fished a bank book out of Myrtle Pepper's trailer, a 3-way joint account. Myrtle, Shanty, and Louisa. The first deposit, $60,000. The date, the same year you were thrown into the can for stealing $60,000. To me, that spells a 3-way split for them and a frame for you. Also to you, it spells a motive for hating all 3 of them.
So I lied to you. What are you going to do, wash my mouth out with soap?
From now on, I don't need any answers from you, including smart ones. But look, you'd better stick around. If the cops don't pick you up for murder, maybe the hotel will want to press charges against you for having an extra unregistered person occupying your room.
Who is it?
Johnny Dollar.
Oh, wait a minute. Miss Carter. They arrested him? Tell me, did he escape?
He's at the hotel, and the cops are on their way down there right now. I hope he's more talkative with them than he was with me.
You talked to him?
Yeah, I had a long, one-sided conversation with him. There's one thing I still can't quite figure out. Whether he really intended to kill Shanty and Myrtle or not.
Myrtle?
Yeah, strangled.
Myrtle. Oh, poor little angel. Of course he meant to kill him. He hated him. He hated us all.
Well, you can hardly blame a fellow for being annoyed, framed on a grand larceny trap by 3 old chums. But you've got the wrong idea, Louisa. What I meant was, did he ever really intend to kill them himself? Or did he just intend to set off the greatest chain reaction since the atom bomb, and just sit back and watch the 3 of you try to beat each other to it?
Well, that's crazy talk.
Yeah, like a fox, maybe. He made his threat to me knowing I'd carry it back to you. I say you because you're the only one left. You see, he set himself up as a patsy. He'd been framed by you once before. To me, it looks like Carter Lacey learned a few things about wrong people during that 8-year stretch. Namely, that they never trust each other.
You're absolutely nuts, Dollar. I think you'd better get out of here. Go peddle your insurance. The cops will take care of Mr. Lacey.
I don't think they will, Louisa.
Why not?
Myrtle was strangled. That's the kind of murder a man would commit.
Well?
But there was a set of deep fingernail marks on her throat. And Carter Lacey bites his nails. So maybe you'd better get yourself a manicure before the police arrive.
Thanks for the advice. Stand right there, Dollar. This time I got the gun.
Hold everything, Louisa.
Carter!
This is a standoff, Louisa. Point that thing someplace else before I point mine up your snoot. Okay, Dollar, get out.
What's the matter with you, Lacey? Are you cracking up? Your plan was going along fine. First, Myrtle tossed Shanty to her snakes. Then Louisa took care of Myrtle. There's only one left, and the state will take care of her for you.
That's not enough. There's one satisfaction I haven't enjoyed so far. That's hearing one of these pigs squeal.
Carter, we can still split the money in the show and get out of here.
The only one that's going to get out of here is Dollar. Beat it.
I beat it all right. I was the only one in the trailer without a gun. I plunged into the darkness looking for something and came up with a tent rope, dashed back to the trailer door, and lashed the knob to the guide rail. I didn't want those gun-happy birds flying the coop. Just then, the season opened. I didn't know who was going to come out the worst in there, the hunter or the hunted. The only key I had to the situation was the key to the car, the one I'd picked up earlier in the day. The car churned the trailer through the carnival back lot and out into the highway. When I hit the cement, I started spinning the rubber. Just as we hit the streets of the sleeping city, things woke up. Whoever was left back there snapped a shot at me through the trailer's front window. The second shot was my cue to try to ruin their aim by playing rockabye trailer, swinging the car from one side of the street to the other. Just as the not-so-sharpshooter made another try, I picked up just what I was looking for, a game of tag with a police patrol car. Expense account, item 13, 15 cents, bicarbonate of soda. Those Midway hot dogs I'd had for supper were no thoroughbreds. Item 14, $35, cigars for night shift. Talladega police, for whom I had started things smoking. Item 15, $3, hotel bill. Oh, but never let it be said that I ever turned in a measly $3 hotel bill for myself. This was to check out of the Sunshine Hotel, the man who had checked out in the trailer at the hands of Louisa Pepper. Louisa Pepper, the only one who was a good bet to catch up with Brennan, who had been murdered by Myrtle. And Myrtle, who had been loused up by Louisa. And Carter, whom she had also carted out of this world, proving that when you start any kind of chain reaction, you should be careful, because you're never going to be sure where it's going to stop. Expense account total? What? Only $692.18. I must be slipping. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
The madman of music is moving. Yes, Spike Jones, formerly heard on CBS on Sunday, is already unpacking his famous collection of flit guns, dishpans, and other instruments, ready for tomorrow night's premiere broadcast as a CBS Saturday star. Hear the Spike Jones Show on most of these same stations tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, when it joins Vaughn Monroe, Gene Autry, Gangbusters, and Sing It Again as a regular Saturday night CBS feature. Listen in again next week when CBS brings you Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar, with Charles Russell as Johnny. Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar is written by Paul Dudley and Gil Dowd, with music by Mark Warnow, and is produced and directed by Richard Sandville for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.